Skittle! One more time. Hello,
There we
everybody.
go.
I'm back. I'm joined by Fellow. Lovely to be alongside you again. And today we have RCTIC up against. Who is it again? It's Skittle.jpg. How could I forget? What a fantastic lineup we have here today, Fellow.
Yeah, I mean, how could you? And we're almost ready to get the show on the road. We're going to wait on a few more individuals, but they're the 5th and 6th seat currently for the major division, so they're both pretty high up there. This will be a pretty exciting best of one, and we cannot display the map bans at the current moment, so we'll just tell you, no surprises to be had. It's going to be Oregon, everyone's favorite and not overplayed map of the evening, with, I believe, RCTIC on the attacking side first, and then the defending side will be Skittles, and then that'll change up if we go to overtime.
Well, you'd hope not. We'll have to wait and see. It depends. I don't know. The game could be really fascinating. I'm expecting, a massive.
Well, we're going to the game.
I completely misheard what Jerry said, and it sounded like he was insulting me. No, he was just throwing us into the game. I was just like, whoa, being called out here. Okay, there we go. Anyway, we move straight on into the bans. We're here on Oregon. You'd expect something pretty traditional here. I imagine the Thatcher will be coming out first, followed by some boring hard breach, a Kaid maybe at a later point, and then it's more of a question mark for that final Skittle ban, really, more than anything else.
Yeah, Mira, big possibility. That could definitely happen because she's very strong on most sites. One in particular, the basement one, where you're working your way in through Blue Bunker, and you have to deal with that Mira window that's put inside of E-Box, or Electrical if you want to call it by the Compass call-out. But Habana is going to be banned. So you're correct about the hard breach. That's a definite. And now getting that hatch open is going to basically be relied on now to the Mavericks. So it'll be a little bit more difficult, but it's definitely not impossible for RCTIC.
Yeah, RCTIC, we were talking a bit before about what you can really do. They're a very familiar lineup. That is the kind of disadvantage for them, is that their strategies could be somewhat obvious. And with banning out the mirror, very predictable, as I just said. So if you know what you're doing with RCTIC, which Skittle will from last season, they've had a bit of a change around compared to RCTIC. Their lineup is slightly different, but majority is the same. So we're familiar with some of these players. We'll know what to expect as well. So it's trodden ground. And especially in terms of the map as well, it's all pretty much what we come to expect. And the bans are, is the play going to be the same? I'm hoping not.
Me too, man, because Oregon is, like I said, probably the most overplayed map currently in the competitive pool, so you expect to see the exact same stuff happen over and over and over again, and I don't think we're actually going to have to really waste that much time, because the last player that had to leave, he came back, just a Moss issue, nothing too important. We might pause for a quick second just to double check, and then we'll get back into it, but I doubt it will take that very long. But at least we have time to look at the lineups, which seem pretty straightforward. Heading to kids in dormitory first and foremost, and a Rooney on the board, and also a castle. You don't see a castle all the time on this bomb site, but I bet it's just to burn through even more utility and cut off a couple of sight lines that could be very impactful for RCTIC when they're pushing into the actual bomb site itself.
Yeah, that too. Or maybe just a cheeky 6-pick to try and force out an operator or two that might not want to bring necessarily. So we'll have to wait and see for that. I'm assuming that Tricky is Trickaluta for RCTIC. I might be wrong. But he's often floating around these teams, so I'm not ever sure where he is necessarily. But there we go. Oh, no, Monks is gone again. That's what's happening.
Okay. I get he probably couldn't select an operator. That's probably why.
We have got that bit of a pause here. Unfortunately, before we get things going, I'm just going to have a bit of a wait. So actually, that's one thing I want to talk about, which is Team Skittle, ready for action. Now, Fellow, you're relatively new here around these parts in ECS. I want to know, because I want to make sure I get all the casters after the first Playday to do the kind of envelope thing where everybody sends me who they think's going to win. And then I'll reveal it later on. Talk about my ant facts. That's a good idea, Kenny. You did spout some really good ant facts over in ESA. Now, what are you thinking, Fellow? Like, how much of these teams do you know for one to start off with?
Season 1, me and Yannick, or Yannick, however you want to pronounce his name, me and him commentated for one of these two teams. That was Team RCTIC, and that was the matchup that would be followed up by Lions Creed, which was at the time one of the best, if not the best team for ECS. So I don't recall who won that game. I think it was RCTIC, but I know nothing about Skittle.jpg, so I don't really want to call anything too soon.
Okay.
I think it's going to take a couple of rounds, obviously, before I can have a very decisive answer, obviously. So I can't really give that good of an answer. I hate to say it, but I know that RCTIC.
Everybody, I'm interested to hear all the other casters and what they're going to do. Obviously, I'll keep it a secret all the way through the season. I got to get that started. Because I don't know who I'm going to pick. I mean, the Majors division this season is absolutely crazy. We've got, big boys like Makers coming up from contenders last season. Obviously now Footprint. And we've got the likes of even some of the teams who were in danger of relegation last season, like the former Jet Ski boys, now Bulldog. They've been a bit up and down as of late, but we know they have quality and they will always stick around up in these top divisions. And they will be that annoying team that you think, it's a pretty easy game, and then they suddenly just smack you out of nowhere. They're that sort of team. So I'm thinking, especially with the results from yesterday as well, in yesterday's first start of the Playday, it's going to be so tough to call any of Major Division.
Yeah. And like you said, these are the best of the best, so they're going to give it their all. They obviously want to keep themselves in that top bracket moving into the next season, also the playoffs, yada, yada, yada. So, it's going to be a lot on the line, that's for sure. And hopefully we're not going to have to wait all that much longer for the last player from RCTIC to rejoin up. Or actually, no, it was Skittles. That's my mistake. The last player on Skittles. RCTIC was well ready. I was right.
Monks.
It was RCTIC. Oh, I mixed the colors around, and then the defensive sides. You know what? Yeah, it happens.
Monk's being a silly monkey. That's what he's doing. He's just goofing around, swinging from vines, that sort of thing.
Happens.
What a fool.
Yeah, almost as foolish as me. Making mistakes in the first 5 minutes of the live broadcast.
Yeah, happens. It's fine.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, speaking of mistakes and monks, I was watching some clips earlier with a couple of the lads. I don't know if they're in the chat at the moment watching this along. We were watching monks with an absolutely horrendous fail against Bitfix, I think a season or two ago, a very, very long time ago on Cafe, just walking up behind a Valkyrie. She's looking the wrong way. All over the place. Nira just spins, bang, lovely. Dearie me. We know that Monks is capable of a lot. I gave him an honorable mention for best and worst best and worst named player last season as well in the EBAC Awards, because Monks is a great name. I like Monks as a name, but the one, all the 5 S's and a 1, come on, man. No one's buying that.
And, well, we're back, but it's okay. Just a joke. We're only kidding. You don't have to look at us for any longer. We're going back into the actual game, and we can see what's going on. And you were right about the castle. It's actually a 6-pick on the smoke, which makes so much more sense on this top floor bomb site. I was really questioning why the castle pick was coming out, and now that it's being 6-picked off of to a smoke, it does make a lot more sense. It's just a little bit of a surprise. Haha, we got you there.
They definitely got you, certainly. I mean, in theory, with the Aruni as well, the double up of the castle and Aruni could be quite useful, certainly, if they tried to use it. You could lock up a window or two, whether it's the attic window, the site window of games, something like that. It just could maybe annoy people if they don't have the right operator in the right place at the right time. And it might just close an angle, which could certainly help out the defense. But smart, it is a pick away to the smoke. But it does mean that we have the sledge brought along, and that means we've got so much. It's just the standard lineup, isn't it? It's hard breach and a good amount of soft breach. Most importantly, with those two frag grenades for both VIP and monks as well.
Yeah, so they have a lot of secondary destruction and primary because they have both the Ashe and Zofia on the board. So expect those two players of Tricky and also Kusik to just soft destruct underneath the 2 main walls of Addict along with Classroom. But if they actually know the lineup that they're going into, they're not even going to have to, because there's nothing to deny those main walls from being opened up. And I think that's a slight problem with Skittle.jpg's team, is because now RCTIC can waste literally 0 time to Maverick Trick open that main wall. They're also not going to waste any time finding a huge opening pick because Monks shuts down stock. There goes your smoke player. So much active utility off the board, and a great entry to start off things for RCTIC.
Well, he might have been better suited sticking with the castle, because at least his utility would be down. He's just down for a man, and there we go. There's a trade out eventually. It's Corey, and he's going for another. He's going towards this Mav Breach. You can see he's on it. Just prone, take the shot. No, he's going for the angle on his head. He's still sticking there, and he finally backs away. Very close from Corey, but he doesn't quite take it. In the meantime, his teammate steps up and gets one. It's Banksy. Refragged quickly, though, by VIP.
Now 3-on-2. Skittle. They've reclaimed the man advantage. They're able to deny this push coming out for a little while longer, but if RCTIC can win 1 or 2 more crucial gunfights, they could end up winning this out, but Corey will deny that. A double kill now for Jaeger, and VIP is now in a 1v3. He'll reposition himself moving forward towards that big window, and he does not get peeked out by Corey. That could have been a nice 3k, but it won't actually end up happening. But this might already be a losable round for RCTIC. They might just sit this one out, go for a tactical timeout, maybe kill bait for a little while for the time being, because he's got plenty of time to burn through, but not a lot of intel to be gathered at the exact same moment.
Skittle is the sort of team who will play this smart. I'd be very, very surprised to see them do anything aggressive from this position. Basically, he's trying to get rid of that gate. He doesn't want to use his frag grenade. He's going to use the M4 instead to take off the head of Inferius, which is a good start. And now he's made his entry known. By blasting that frag grenade on the window, it's basically saying, here I come. But you know what? No, he's just going to go around. It's a big old distraction. 45 seconds left to make this happen, to stop Skittle from .jpeg from taking the first round.
Yep, but Corey, he reads right into it. A nice 3k to seal the deal. And Skittle, they'll reclaim that round in their own victory, even though they lost an entry right off the bat. But it doesn't matter because Corey is there to equalize. So great first round win for Skittles, and they'll most likely go down below into Laundry Room. And they'll probably have a somewhat similar lineup. I'm seeing a lot more Rooney being put into effect just because it's another annoying operator to burn through utility, and it wasn't an immediate issue for the lone Maverick player of VIP, but let's say he did win that gunfight against the Jaeger player of Corey. It's still a 1v1, but both the Deer doorway and the hard breach that was opened up inside a closet had an Rooney gate on it, so he would have lost a substantial amount of health in moving forward through that, which could have gave Maestro the upper hand, especially with that Alda. 2 quick shots to the chest, and he would have been down for the count.
Yeah, we saw the efficiency of both teams midway through that round. That absolute trade battle on and on and on it went, ending just in the favor of Skittle, and they sealed it out quite easily. Here they go down to the basement, as you say. I think I do love Stockeye on... I mean, I love him generally, but I love Stockeye also just on the smoke. He's a great... I mean, you think of Skittle.jpg and Smoke, like Kenny comes to mind. You think of Skittle.jpg, Kenny comes to mind. I mean, he's just the best. But Stockeye, he has been a fantastic replacement for that particular role on the team. He looks so comfortable on it. What's Kenny going to say? He's going to put a heart in. There we go. Kenny is also observing today for everybody watching. He's back on the observing duty. It's the 3rd time he's observed me now. And you know what? He's doing a fantastic job, I've got to say. And it will probably help. Given the fact that he knows this team so well, he'll know what to expect on this defense.
And a lot of good game sense. He just plays the game a lot, and he knows what he's doing. So
that helps.
It's always nice. It's always helpful. Maybe we'll have him as almost a permanent observer just because he's always there time and time again. He does his job pretty damn good. So I mean, I wouldn't be complaining about it. We had a great duo cast when he was working with us, so... I mean, hey. And speaking of our last duo cast, we did see a triple kill come out almost every single round, and Corey did find a nice 3k.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd bring that up while on the downtime. Yeah, I figured I'd bring it up. Corey did get a 3k, so maybe we'll see that happen time and time again. That would be honestly hilarious.
Oh, me oh my. Well, we can only hope. I mean, RCTIC are the sort of team who, you know, you can see that coming from across both lineups. Any player here, I can figure getting a triple at any point in this game. So I would not be surprised if that's the case. I'm also not surprised that RCTIC have been very efficient in taking the first floor. It's been somewhat given to them, but they have taken it nice and easy. They don't seem worried about any second floor presence, as there is none, and off they get working on this meeting hatch. And similar areas, I mean, they've done a good job in terms of time. They're going to come across a lot of utility any moment now.
That's normally why you have to have at least some type of defensive hold up above, just to try to waste time, because only a minute's been taken off the board, now a minute 15 or 20, give or take, but E-Box Hatch has already been taken care of. The Aruni Laser Gate has been eradicated, so now they can start getting control of Electric, and they're also going to begin to push out players like Stotch, who's in the back near Blue Bunker, that elbow corner. Corey as well, he'll take a formidable amount of damage. He's still sitting in the back lines, though, waiting to try and find some type of frag, but eventually he'll go and retreat, giving more coverage for RCTIC. So it's only a matter of time before they start pushing into the actual basement level of this map. A grenade comes out by Monks. That could be huge, but he's not going to find anything. Now is a great time to start transitioning back into the bomb site. That's exactly what they're going to be attempting, but oh my goodness. The fadeaway comes out by Stotch. He'll guarantee himself the entry, but a trade comes out. It's an ocean of orange as Kusik and Vipe find kills of their own. A 3K for Vipe. There it is by the Maverick player. It's just a 1v4 now, all up to Lord Banks on the rotate. He almost picks up one on a tricky, but he will deny the clutch. RCTIC take the second round, and now it's 1-1.
Mio, my Vip, yet again, he is the man on RCTIC of any of them. I spoke about the ability for anyone on this entire roster of the lineup today can pull out a moment of magic. Vip is the man to do that. You would expect the most, and here he is doing it yet again. A fantastic triple sitting there on the attack, just swinging on everyone suddenly. Great play from Stockeye to delay and then get that wall closed, but I think they still somehow shot through the soft wall onto that Malusi there. I'm not quite sure what happened. It was all a bit chaotic really at the end, and they are going to reattempt Skittle now that the score is even at 1-1.
It was the fact that there was really no one defending the E-Box drop, and already RCTIC was clearing out the player inside of Electric, or not Electric, sorry, Blue Bunker, my mistake. So they were like, you know what? Yeah, let's just hop down.
Fellow, every time you say E-Box, it sounds like you're saying E-Bax, just with a really weird accent, so it's really confusing.
Yeah, no worries. I'll say Electric. It's not a big deal. But yeah, RCTIC, they just hopped down in towards Electric, and they were also pushing the backside of Big Tower Stairwell, so Skittle just didn't really have enough to back it up, and RCTIC just won their gunfights. I mean, Vip specifically, he got a 3K that round, so another 3K being put in my notes. I'm not going to let that one slide, but now we'll see a reattempt of the exact same bomb site, the exact same lineup on both sides as well, so RCTIC could perfectly read into this and just do the exact same thing, and based on their drone positions in the prep phase, I think they're going to be doing just that.
I mean, they were fantastic in the first minute, a bit passive in the second minute, just figuring out what they wanted to do. But you know what? If it takes that long to figure out how to execute that well, you can really afford to, because they just threw themselves in and did a fantastic job. I want to clarify what the triple record currently. It was 12 rounds the last time we casted and 10 triples. Right?
What are my notes?
There were only 2 rounds without triples, and I think it was 12 or 11 rounds. So that's another 2 added to our record.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? It was either 10 or 11 out of 12 rounds.
It was 10.
Yeah, that was a
2
lot.
rounds missing.
It was 10, yeah. So that was pretty impressive to say
12
the least,
out of 14 so far.
Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting if we saw that. I mean, obviously there's things that are better than 3K, but it is always a funny joke to keep reminiscing about, especially with me and E back on the casting booth. So, you know, always something to think about. But like I said earlier, the exact same thing happening. It's going to keep being the same stuff over and over again, even as the first minute has now elapsed, because that electric hatch has been opened up. The Syria gate is no longer there and position. Drones coming out, but it's a little bit more of an aggressive stance for Skittle. They have players right near barrel doorway and boiler room in towards the pillar area. That's Infurious. He almost got a bit aggressive on that push coming out from Big Tower stairs, but oh my goodness, what an angle. He shuts down Kusik, and the entry actually favors Skittles on this third round.
Oh, the difference this time, it's adjustment, the key word. They get 2 kills. One struck back, but no, they strike back again straight afterwards. It's back and forth yet again. It's like we saw in the first round, giving RCTIC a bit more of a chance. 1 minute left. The problem could be Infurious stuck here on rear stage. He could catch off the Ashe. Is she not ready? She's not ready. Shoots a bum, but she doesn't deal enough damage. It's the Roni. She's Prody. She's in a poor position and easily taken out by the Ashe. Lord Banksy there for the pickup and takes it for Skittle. 1-man advantage now coming into the last 40 seconds.
All up to NW here. He has enough time to work with, but the question is, does he have the information? He's eyeing down the electric area. He hops down eventually. The sound cue is perfect for Lord Banksy, right around the main hallway, eliminates him from the board, and Skittle will reclaim that round they ever so lost a moment ago, bringing us 2-1, moving forward into the 4th one.
Again, they noticed what RCTIC were doing from the first time around. They went, okay, no, they put no pressure on from Laundry or Freezer. Let's not bother with that. Let's just put everyone on this side. And then they won out their fights. Simple as that. They had the man advantage in those positions. And then they just acted on it. Pretty simple, really. And they head back up to Kids' dorms. No attempt of the first floor yet, where they were successful the first time. And they're not tricking around with that castle. I imagine they do like this lineup of operators. They're probably just going to be sticking with it for the remainder of these defenses, unless they've got something else up their sleeve.
I mean, they could, but other than maybe some type of anti-breach, they really don't need anything. And the best bet for them is just a Kaid, but the problem is he's currently banned. So, I mean, yeah, you can bring a bandit, you can bring a mute. It'll eventually get blown up, though, by either a Maverick Grenade or the breaching rounds of Kusik or Tricky. I would still prefer to have it on the board just to waste some utility on the side of RCTIC and a tiny bit of time as well, but there's better options. One in particular, the Aruni, as she is now allowed in competitive play, has been for a couple of weeks now, so you can be a little bit more proactive about that utility denial, and you can put them in a lot of really intricate places. One in particular, that main wall inside of Closet, because now, even if you get that main wall opened up pretty quickly with the Selmas, you still have to use either another Selma or a smoke grenade, which is very vital utility moving forward after that first wall gets opened up.
It's a very good idea to delay your opposition. You know, bring the mute, slow them down maybe, and make sure the breach is nice and late. But against RCTIC, I'm not sure how strong a tactic that is so far this game, because they can pull and execute out of nowhere with very, very little time. And that's something that's really, really hard to counter directly, so they haven't bothered at all with that delay. And they're just going to try and go for a bit of gunpowder, maybe a bit of something that can catch their opposition off, and that Melusi as well in particular, making it a bit harder with the executes to push into the site when you're not ready and you haven't cleared out those Banshee positions.
Yeah, and of course, just the player herself. Oh, Corey in a great position. A nice entry onto Tricky. There goes one of your soft destructors, so you're not going to have a lot of utility to work with, and now Kusik will most likely have to rotate around to help out Maverick, but Vip, speaking of the Maverick player, he gets the trade onto Corey, so another frag will not be had just yet, except for on the side of RCTIC. Now things are evened up, but the slow push is still coming out regardless of how slow it may be. That back wall in towards Deer gets opened up by the Selma. Sight lines being gathered by RCTIC. They're stacking up outside of Master Bedroom. This could be huge if someone goes underneath with a C4, but that's exactly where Kusik is to try and deny it. A gunfight could be had by either him or Lord Banksy's, but only time will tell. There's still a minute 30 on the clock, and it's still a roughly slow-paced round for both sides.
RCTIC have been so efficient here. They're just taking the ground, they're getting things open, and they're getting the kills. Corey really struggling to get out of the attic yet again. Getting a bit caught in some of those positions. Very exposed on that play. I mean, Tricky, bit odd that he was just standing there. Lord Banksy, he was close, but he's been droned out by the Sophia of Kusik, and he's backing away. He's just chasing him around. No, he turns around. Suddenly, Kusik is there. He's still following you. You can't just give up, and he's taken down. 1 minute left now for RCTIC with this man advantage to go to... I bit my tongue. Ow! To go for this move.
I mean, it could possibly happen, but we could end up winning that gunfight, but he narrowly misses the shots. Vip is on a sliver of HP. It's only going to take one bullet from that Alder for him to get eradicated off the face of this earth, but it's not going to happen just yet. We're down to the last 40 seconds. We're beginning to see this execute be attempted by RCTIC, but Skittle, regardless of that man disadvantage, they're still holding strong. Kusik, though, in the back, he could find one, but it's still Vip from VIP, or actually no, the big window no, I'm on the wrong map for Christ's sake. He eliminates off stock inside of Kid's room, now a 4-on-2, and the push is almost about to happen, but RCTIC want to make sure they're exactly aware of these players' position. Ring around the rosy for Infurious. It works out. He eliminates Monks. He goes for a second, but cannot line up the shot just right. Now he's put in a 1v3, but there goes Carrier. He just has to stall for about 4 more seconds, but the diffuser will be picked up by Kusik, and now they can go for this plant. Perfect coverage by Vip. He's just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. He misses the body. He checks his left, but he's actually on the right side. Swing comes out by Infurious. He wins the fight. A 3K for Infurious. He just has to find one more, but Vip can just sit in the long angle and watch the Carrier. 30 seconds left. This could still be winnable for Infurious, but he has to play his cards perfectly right. He'll try to bait the diffuser. This could force Vip to push up, but he's not going to notice it just in time. He'll find some shots, but he gets injured. Oh my goodness, Infurious. More than enough time to defuse, and a massive clutch will be had for Skittles as they take their 3rd round win.
The movement from that Aruni dancing around, sneaking around the sledge for one at exactly the right moment, denying the planting player. Unfortunately, he wasn't just there in time. I hope you're all right. That was quite long.
I had a cough.
Oh dear. I already forgot what I was saying. It was just amazing from the Aruni there. Infurious, I've been saying ever since, I don't know, the EEG days when Infurious was a sub for free up Tom at the time. This man is insane. The king of frag grenades, we call him. But frags, just pure frags right now for the quad to pull that back. So Skittle.jpg take a 3-1 lead, and they head over to Meeting Hall and Kitchen, where you definitely anticipate this castle a little bit more.
Yeah, he can help a lot when it comes to slowing down the push in the actual bomb site itself or up above, because you kind of have to heavily extend on that 2nd floor when defending Meeting Hall and Kitchen. It's a given. Happens every single time, and we're seeing that push more in towards Meeting and Kitchen. Almost no dining room or kitchen nowadays, just because it's kind of a lackluster site now that teams know how to properly attack it. You can kind of just ignore that showers extension and just go on the backside of Meeting, and if you're not defending Meeting as an actual bomb site, you really can't defend it properly, so it's almost a freebie for the attacking squad. So I'm glad Skittle knows that, and they're going to be going to this bomb site instead. So I sadly have to now say, as much as it hurts my pride and my ego, that dining room is no longer a really viable site.
Dun dun dun.
I hate to say it, but it's true.
Oh, can't believe you do this. I mean, it's got to be better than... Oh, what was it? Was it Mouse Plays? I think it was in one of those contenders games. I can't quite recall which team it was, but one of the contenders teams on a defensive Kitchen and Meeting decided to reinforce all of security and then close the hatch and then sit above with an Aruni with no holes open. It was I'm trying to be nice. It wasn't good.
Yeah. It's the best way to put it. You can't really sugarcoat
not great.
it. Yeah, you can't, so I don't blame you. I
Hopefully
mean, at least you were a little bit
better
nice about
here.
it. Yeah.
Positivity.
True. So, RCTIC, not really wasting any time. That's the only thing I have an issue with the Meeting Hold defense, is that you're going to just see players or teams like RCTIC just putting all their manpower into one side. Now, they kind of have to, and so far, it's going to work out because Vip finds the entry onto Corey. A beautiful shot from outside, might I add, but he's on a very low HP, and he's probably one of the most influential operators in this setup, not only because of his primary gadget, but also his secondary gadgets. He can clear out that top floor with his grenades pretty effectively, especially if he finds a kill on top of that, the icing on top of the cake, if you call that. But RCTIC, they really don't need to do that as of right now because they already found the entry, and now they're actually repositioning themselves into Garage, hopefully to throw Skittle's game off guard, but as of right now, it's not really working out for them.
Well, the cherry on top of the icing of the cake is that it's Vip as well on that, and it's just delicious. Like, I really want to start eating that, and Stock Eye starts things off. He's hungry, getting a kill onto NW, gobbling that opportunity up. And that is even in terms of man count. 1 minute 10 now on the clock. RCTIC, as you say, doing a pretty monolithic push. This site does encompass pretty much the whole map. You can do a lot from a very central position here. And RCTIC, pretty much two sides to it at the moment. The north and the kind of south move as well over by Garage, but Monks is very isolated here. He's got the diffuser. But if he loses that fight there, it's not a great position to be in.
Ooh, and you kind of called it, but it's not the player that had the carrier. It was just Vip, who was already on very little HP. Trade comes out by Monk, so this could allow for the plant. They still have to worry about players up above and the flank by Lord Banks. He's on that laundry stairwell. If he gets the call, he could deny this plant. Whips right on the corner. Perfect timing. There goes your carrier down for the count, and it is now all up to Tricky in a 1 versus 3. The white one comes out, and there it goes.
To get
a
the
3K. There we have it. Another one in the books. I'm writing that down right now. Stock with a beautiful 3K to end off the round, and Skittle brings us 4-1.
This is crazy. Not just the fantastic defending and the fantastic flanking play of Lord Banksy there, but so you see the Valkyrie get 2 kills, and you're thinking there's 1 left. And I can see her coming across meeting, and the Aruni's coming as well. Like, get out the way, Inferius! Get out the way! It's the Valkyrie's time. And Sokai, I was praising the smoke play earlier, looking just as strong on the Valkyrie as well. Skittle right now are so hard to beat. Oregon, it's been back and forth. Is it attacker-sided now? Is it defender-sided? Who knows? Certainly it's defender-sided right now.
I think the bans have a big part to play in how exactly you're going to see this turn out. For example, if Thatcher's on the board, heavily attacker favored. There's really nothing you can do, to be honest. So there's that you can really think about. But the fact that Mira and Kaid are off the board, actually no, I don't really even have to specify that. You don't really need either two of those operators, to be fair, because there's already still so much utility you can have in your hands. I mean, look at this. We've seen Malusi, Maestro, and also Aruni played pretty much, if not every single round. And they've been doing so much for the team. We've seen those Syria gates force RCTIC to burn through a lot of their utility. Those Evil Eyes can gather intel from time to time. We haven't seen them deny the plant, but it's still okay. And then you also have the Malusi gadgets too. So what was that?
Passive utility. You shove them down, off you go. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, you've got the active element of the Evil Eyes, but they are also inactive as well. You can shove them in a cheeky spot, and there you go. You've got that cam pretty much for the rest of the round, depending on where it is, and if the attackers do not spot it out and take it out accordingly. RCTIC sticking... I mean, both teams sticking for pretty similar lineups. The only operator switch around is Stockeye. Bit of good play with the smoke last time, so a little bit surprising. He's gone for the C4 wielding mute, and he's given it a good old chuck. It's been taken out of the air, though, by Monks.
Yeah, not going to guarantee himself a kill, but he can still play pretty aggressive on that back stairwell. He'll eventually push back a little bit further down in the depths of the map of Oregon, but that's okay. At least he tried wasting a little bit of time, but RCTIC really doesn't seem that worried at the current moment because they're still going to go for that electric hatch opening pretty quickly. They're aware, though, that there's probably some type of roam, and that's currently in the hands of Lord Banksy up above. So if he can find some type of kill, that could be a huge impact on the round, and we still might see Skittles end up winning out this round, but RCTIC has something to say about that. Monks finding the entry on that mute player we were talking about so highly earlier, and Kustik follows up with a kill of his own. Now a 5-on-3, technically a 5-on-2, unless Lord Banksy can find a kill, he'll do just that, but it gets traded out by Tricky. Now a 2-on-4, and RCTIC seemingly had this one in the bag, unless Corey and we can win this.
Well, it's the big impact players who have been taken out for Skittle. The big impact players so far in this particular match. But we and Corey know from the past they can pull out moments whenever. And they've got all that passive utility we were talking about. They've got all the gates still up. They've got those ADSs, mute jammers, whatever they might need, and the Banshees as well in position. So, you know what? With a Jaeger and the Alder as well, most importantly, in the hands of a strong fragging player like we, you can never really count them out. You just got to make sure they start taking these kills before they get flushed in terms of men. They push two for one, like two men to each one man. They've very, very little they can do from that position.
Especially when the time gets closer and closer towards 0 seconds. They don't have a minute to work with anymore. So RCTIC could seemingly lose that just because, especially if Corey finds some type of kill coming out in these next couple of seconds. The freezer push could definitely happen, but Wee is expecting that. He's holding down the fort with that Alda, like you mentioned, eBack, one of the best guns to have on the defensive side, followed up by that 416 carbine. But RCTIC, they're just about ready to position themselves inside the actual bomb site. They're collapsing on multiple different angles. It just might not be enough. Skittles could possibly not be able to deny this, but down to 15 seconds, it's possible. That plant coming down by NW, that'll make things technically a 3-on-2. No one's covering the plant. Massive swing by Corey, but Kusik from behind. He will not guarantee a 5th round win for Skittle just yet. 4-2 split, pretty common for Oregon, but a masterful execute coming out by RCTIC.
Yep, smart play from RCTIC. They realized, you know what, there's only 2 of them. We got the man advantage. We send 1 man round solo just around the other side just to make a bit of fuss. And it's a good player you can rely on. It is Kusik in that position. Nips up the final kill, and the rest of his team have a bit of a rougher time over by the site, but the flank is enough to catch off the Jaeger, who's split 180 degrees either. He's got to pay too much attention to too many things, and that's what you can do with the man advantage. So 4-2 is now the score. RCTIC bringing it a little bit closer. They can just about hang on here and try and bring it back on their defenses. They're going to start with the similar defense we saw Skittle do the first time around, which has been very successful for them, despite that very, very dramatic clutch from Inferius earlier. They've still won out the site every time. Can they keep that trend going, RCTIC?
I mean, I honestly can't decisively say, because look at the lineups. They're completely different. We didn't see a Valkyrie or a Goyo a singular time when Skittle.jpg was defending, and now look, they're on the board. What's up?
We saw Stockeye play Valkyrie on first floor once, but other than that, it's been very minimal.
Wait, really? Oh, yeah, he went for a run out. I remember
triple.
now. Okay, you're right. All right, good pickup, good pickup. But we didn't see them immediately pick them like time and time again. No, it was more or less the Aruni and Maestro. So we're not seeing the exact same stuff. And the same thing goes for Skittle.jpg. They have a Buck on the board, a Yana. This is crazy. I mean, I love the Yana pick. She's a great intel gatherer, and she also has frag grenades. So that whole...
I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue, fellow. You're new here in ECS. Get used to seeing Inferius on the Iana, because he's probably the best Iana player around. I've been saying it for quite a while. Inferius on the Iana
as good
is
as
an
Sturksy?
Absolute menace.
As good as Sturksy?
Sturksy?
That's what I thought. See,
Sturksy's
you know
naff.
Okay.
Inferius is the king of nades, and that certainly helps when the Iana has a great weapon and fantastic utility on top of it. Could certainly help out Corey here, who is under a bit of pressure, potentially from the kitchen. He might be thinking he's aware of the hatch, but no, Inferius, I've built you up just to be killed on rappel.
See, Sturksy wouldn't have died there. he would have he would have did a 90-degree flick and just eradicated Tricky.
But unlike Sturksy, I mean, no, I'm not going to dunk on Sturksy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But RCTIC, they're doing a great job so far. 5-on-2, Kusik. He wins his 1v1 against Lord Banksy. This round has basically already been lost for Skittle. It's up to Corey and Wee. We saw them narrowly come back in a 2-on-4, but now it's a 2-on-5, and they're on the attacking side. They don't have that luxury of waiting for RCTIC to come to them. No, they have to push into that Lion's Den when they're down such a heavy deficit. And Corey, not winning that gunfight, it was a crucial one to be had, but he's not going to win it like I just said. So this could already be a loss for Skittle because they really don't have a lot to work off of in this position except for time. That's really it.
They don't have the intel on the security player, I don't think, sitting right next to them downstairs. Corey realizes nice and late it's just about time to take out Kusik. 4 more to find for these attackers. I mean, Corey is the man to do it. He's the top fragger right now for Skittle and equal highest in the game alongside Vip. So he's in a good bless you. And he's going to move on in. Oh, it's a lovely shot onto NW. Still not moving and biding his time. He's got quite a lot of it, to be fair. And now we're a bit closer in man count. Skittle.jpg, it's not over yet.
Surely not. And similar to the last round we just saw, they still have plenty of time to play with. But They need to secure at least one more kill. That could guarantee them the round right then and there, but still, it'd be a 2-on-2. But at least it's a lot more winnable than a 2-on-3. You kind of see that downfall come to effect eventually. We just waltzes right into sight, and Tricky completely just denies it. Massive plays at the very end of the round by Tricky. A 3K, I believe it to be. And RCTIC, they end up winning their first defensive round on Kids in Dorm. So sadly, Skittle.jpg, they won't be winning that site on the attack.
Unfortunate for them, and they had a really, really poor start, losing those 3 men pretty much instantaneously. Very, very lackluster from Skittle, taking their foot off the gas somewhat. You want to switch to the attack after a strong defensive half, and then, you know, bring some new momentum, breathe new life into your team. Even when you're on top, you just got to prove that you're still raring to go and you can do it just as much on the attack as you can on the defense. Right now, not the case, and VIP really being annoying and picking off the clash in the basement and going to the smoke. It makes a lot of sense, but not bringing the clash could be a mistake.
I say a lot of mean things about Clash, but honestly, if you know what you're doing, she's actually pretty good, to be honest. And I think Laundry,
against
I think Laundry's probably her best site.
Skittle know how Clash operates pretty well, thanks to good old Kangaroo Kenny here on the Observer's Desk, the person who played the most Clash last season for Skittle.jpg. So it makes a lot of sense that RCTIC might try and bait Skittle into doing something with that pick and then picking off it. At the same time, I can't really condone their behavior.
Yeah, it didn't... I guess that makes sense when you think about it, but yeah, it does break my heart a little bit, because seeing something with a lot of variety like Clash, it's always nice to commentate over, especially when it works really well, because it's almost laughable as to how perfect the execute can be denied with Clash on the board, but sadly that won't happen just yet. So a pretty standard deviation coming out by RCTIC. I mean, this is everything you would need to defend the basement site. I'm surprised we're not seeing a Maestro or a Goyo or an Aruni, but that doesn't mean that the operators that they currently have aren't bad or anything. No, they didn't need an Aruni last round to win it out, but I mean, it is a little bit odd to see not so much utility being brought on the board.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all passive. It means they can just do whatever they want. And here's Tricky doing exactly that, roaming around on the top floor. He's got those 2 impacts to his hand as well. Uh-oh, he's being yellow pinged.
And I don't think he knows. Oh, yeah, no. He's got... you'll find out eventually. And Kusik actually picks up the entry. That's quite surprising. So, again, RCTIC asserting themselves quite well, but this time... they're not going to be as lucky. Stockch will get a trade onto that roaming Jaeger, but they still have to worry about Tricky up above, who is now just repositioned himself right in the middle of Kid's room, so he can still waste a plethora of time up above, which could be devastating for Skittle.jpg moving forward into this 8th round.
Tricky's still persisting in this position. He's going to be... there's a lot of resistance coming his way. And you know what? He's got those impacts. He's used one and managed to escape. Infurious is chasing on that Gemini, but you know what? You're not going to find him right now. He's gone. He's all the way off in the site, and his teammate as well, NW, picks up 1. The aggression here from RCTIC, the complete opposite of Skittle.jpg on their defenses, is working out fantastically.
Yeah. They still have the man advantage, and they've burned the first half of this round completely. So things are looking quite rough for Skittle.jpg. They could still bring it back. They have enough time to work with, but it's going to come down to the wire, especially if they don't reclaim that man advantage or at least equalize it, because they are down quite a number, even more so now. An amazing C4 tossed by NW. A 2v4 a second time now, or a third, I should actually say. And Skittle looking down that gun barrel of a possible another loss. This could be devastating for them. They'll lose their round advantage. It'll be a 4-on-4, and they really have not improved whatsoever in these first couple of attacking rounds, and they might not be able to win this one out.
Yeah, hard angles, crossfires being held by these defenders, just waiting for these attackers to walk into it. The one chance they have is those frag grenades to potentially push players back or to get the kill. There's one, Sockeye picks up another. It's a triple for NW in the meantime, and that will seal the deal with, alongside VIP, certainly getting that SMG-11 kill. It's a good effort from the 2 remaining men, but it's just not enough, and we move to 4-4. They've pulled it even, RCTIC, looking a lot better on their defenses.
Yeah, and I mean, we mentioned it earlier. this map is incredibly defender favored. It's probably one of the most defender favorited maps because we're seeing maps like Villa transition more to 3-3 splits, not 4-2, but Oregon's still not really changed all that much except how you play on it. We're seeing either really hunkered down anchor holds, or we're seeing what RCTIC's doing right now. They're just ballistic all over the place, waste as much time and manpower as physically possible, and then just come back to site. And so far, it's been devastating for Skittle. They haven't won a single round just yet. They lost their first 2 on the attack, and now things are evened up. We're moving to meeting and kitchen now, though, which is technically the best site you can attack on, other than dining and kitchen, of course. So maybe we'll see a little bit of success coming up by Skittle, but only time will tell.
This would be the time to do it, certainly. RCTIC, they've been pretty dominant these last 2 rounds. I mean, Skittle haven't really stepped up at all. They're losing men pretty early on to not the most extensive roams, but pretty deep, to say the least. And it's really working out for RCTIC. They're forward men. Just I guess anyone on the lineup can pull out these moments. So right now for Skittle, it seems less like that than usual necessarily. They're a team where you can rely on anyone. Right now, especially Wee, I think. Wee is one of those players I look at and I think, wow, what a player to have on your team. He is playing a bit more of a supporting role, so it doesn't make sense. He's not necessarily making the big impacts that he usually does. But at the same time, expect a tiny bit more from him, and the rest of this game, if he can step it up, it'll be very, very different score-wise coming into the end of it.
I mean, it doesn't matter how poor your KD can be as long as you're finding those impact kills. That's all that really matters in the end. And for the most part, Skittle.jpg has won the most rounds up until now. Of course, it's 4-4. Obviously, there's no decisive winner at the current moment, but he has found some impactful kills to say the least. Let's hope he can make that a little bit more kills here and there, though. Kusik, though, he's trying to find more than just 7 kills. He goes out for the wide swing. He tags Lord Banksy. He'll lose a quarter of his health, but he's still alive and well. And Infurious, the master of the rappel, shuts down Kusik. There goes one of your main roamers. He won't make the same mistake twice, and now Skittle is in a much better position moving forward as the first minute has come to an end. They've already found that entry, but just as I give them a lot of hope, Vip will deny it and trade things out onto Infurious.
Infurious falling again outside, having a bit of a rough time right now. Can struggle to get into the building some of these times. A lot better at the end of the last round, but look at the Ashe. She's already right on into the site, taken out very quickly, but suddenly all the attackers are there in support. They've flooded the site, and people, not the site, sorry, the kids, and dearie me, I'm so used to kids being the site. I know it's not the site, and she's going for a C4 underneath, misses.
Happens.
Yeah,
Skittle.jpg, a perfect execute up on that extension. Vip's trying to go back up above, though, to try and deny it, but the deep angle is being held by Corey. He gets off it for a moment, but that's okay because RCTIC still cannot push up against him. Corey will hear that sound cue, and it will only be a matter of time before he wins that gunfight, and Vip is well aware of that, so he'll back off to try to help his brethren of MW inside the bomb site. Great peek comes out by NW. He'll mark it off of that success with a kill onto Wee. There goes Carrier, and now things are evened up 2-2. RCTIC has a fighting chance. They don't have the best of positions right now, but they have plenty of utility. Smoke of Vip still has all of his smoke grenades, and now he's put in a 1v1. He wins the first kill, but no, Corey! He wins the 1v1! Skittle will finally take their first attacking round. They'll bring things back up. Oh my goodness, an amazing clutch by Corey. Almost lost, but it doesn't matter because he'll in fact win his ones.
Oh, that came so close. Good effort from the smoke, but in the end, Corey just on top of it. He is starting really to pick up those frags. He's been top man for most of the game, and that is a perfect time to continue your killing record. 5-4 now. They win their first attack, most importantly. That'll give them a bit more confidence. They're 1 round away from match point and only a 2 round away from a win. So they've got that going for them, Skittle.jpg. They can use this as a point to really pull themselves back, the proverbial foot in the door, to really wedge their way forwards.
Yeah, I was honestly impressed by that. I thought Vip had that kill confirmed, to be honest, and then Corey just flicked to his immediate right and just was like, nope, I got it. I mean, what better way to put it, too? And Vip could have played that a little bit smarter as well. He had all 3 of his Toxic Babes. He could have just denied the plant by just waiting out on time, but, you know, it happens. Can't win them all, I suppose. RCTIC eventually had to be denied of a win eventually, but they'll go back up above, and they did an amazing job defending kids in dorms. Their roam found them 3 instantaneous frags, making things a 5-on-2, which basically put Skittle.jpg in a completely losing position, and that was true because they didn't win that round against RCTIC, and then that brought them down to basement where they won it again. So we could see 6-5 match point in the favor of RCTIC if they just simply play their cards right.
Skittle.jpg, they've got to deal with these roaming men. First off, it's tricky using the MP5, not great damage, especially not from that range. Mostly just scaring Wee, trying to vault up over by the white van. Pretty clever pre-fire. I'm surprised we don't see that sort of thing more often to maybe catch off 1 or 2 lazy players if they don't have the right drones in those positions. Nevertheless, it's not really going to impact this round too much, as it's only a quarter of his health, unfortunately.
Yeah, so he'll still be alive and kicking for the time being, making things at 5-on-5. The first minute just about coming to an end, so nothing much has really happened, but finally some action will occur, though Selma's being activated, and Infurious finds the entry. There we have it. Skittle still in a pretty decent lead as of right now, but that Mute Jammer is able to deny the second half of that Selma charge, and there goes Banksy. A nice Hail Mary comes out by Monks, and it lands right in the feet of Lord Banksy. So now things are evened up again, and there isn't really much that Skittle.jpg can do to get rid of that Mute Jammer. They have to go underneath because at the current moment, Infurious is nowhere to be found, and those grenades, they would normally be used for it, but eventually they'll get it opened up, and Stalk from behind picks up a nice 2K out of nowhere from the deer doorway. Now a 4-on-2, and Skittle.jpg is just rushing into the bomb site.
Tricky. He's trying to put some resistance up. He gets Infurious straight back, but the attackers are moving forward. Wee sticking the plant, and he is covered well by Corey and Stockeye in the meantime. Players isolated here. Kusik trying to deny from underneath. Didn't get the angle right. Now it's just down to the Jaeger and the Melusi to retake. Both stuck downstairs. A really poor position to be. They've got to push all the way across and win these fights. They've got 30 seconds to do so. It's a tough ass. Corey with this outside position. A lovely shot to finish off Kusik. Can Tricky be finished off the same way? It's a pretty tough dispatch job. Tricky gets rid of Stockeye, and here he moves towards the diffuser. But there is Corey yet again. A lovely double from him at the end to seal the round again for Skittle. And most importantly, they move on to match point.
Yeah, only one more round, and they'll have it in the bag. And it's still going to be tough, though, because they do have to go up against probably the best bomb site for RCTIC. They're going to be going to Laundry and Supply, and I mean, even though I was hyping them up, you know, did a great job on the first round when going kids and dorms, they also did a pretty good job on this site as well. And it's, you know, it's still up in the air. It is Oregon after all, technically defender favorited, but, you know, I don't know. I just don't know, to be honest, D-back.
I think when things have been a bit more chaotic, RCTIC have won out, whereas Skittle have been winning the more basic things. Like the attacks that you expect, they've adjusted to, and they've done a pretty good job at handling what you would usually anticipate. Whereas when a spanner's been thrown in the works, RCTIC have done, you know, there are 2 roamers on the 2nd floor on a bottom floor defense. They've just been caught off and they don't know what to do. They just seem a bit lost when it's not something that is what exactly you expect. So you know what? They're bringing the wild card themselves this time, and maybe that'll help them out.
Yeah, Ying, I think she's a very slept-on operator because she has so much utility. 3 Candelas and 2 smoke grenades. One of the better guns to have on the attacking side. That LMG is just a laser beam. It's not as good as the Alda, not the same amount of fire rate, but it's still pretty good. Yeah. So, you know, there isn't a lot of utility that can really deny those Candelas, except for the ADSs, but you can just throw something else, like the smoke grenades or a concussive blast by Corey, really anything to get rid of them, and then you can just shoot them. So they could clear out Blue Bunker pretty quickly if done properly, and it would take a lot to really mess that up. And oh my goodness, already Lord Banksy finding the entry. This could already be over in a matter of moments unless RCTIC can come back from this heavily.
Well, they had trouble dealing with Kusik last time. Tricky also evading lots of players, dancing around Kitchen, jumping down that hatch from Kids earlier when we saw this site. This time, the Melusi's gone. Monks, though, oh, he's trying to get the revenge onto the Zofia. Blasts Corey, but somehow still survives there.
I cannot believe that he lived that. He just took a complete buckshot to the arm and lives to tell another tale.
If
That's quite
there's a man
impressive.
you want to take out right now, it would be Corey with his play right now. Most importantly as well, utility-wise, is probably the Ying you want to take out, and it's a great pick from Vip.
That might single-handedly bring things back for RCTIC. It is still a 4-on-4, so anything could really happen, but that's plan A down the drain for Skittle.jpg. Most of their attacking round was probably based off of that Ying, and now she's not on the board anymore, so it's going to get a little bit more intense for them. And they've also lost that man advantage that I mentioned earlier. They haven't really cleared out that pillar extension. Now we're seeing Kusik trying to rework his ADS to better position himself in that back stairwell, maybe to help out Monks a little bit, but Corey is the one trying to contest that angle, and he's on very little HP. One shot from pretty much any gun could really make him go 6 feet under, so RCTIC could end up bringing back this man advantage in their favor, and up until now, they've done a great job of denying this blue bunker push. Some vital shots being missed by Vip, but he'll turn it around a second time. NW and Kusik winning their gunfights. It's now back to a 2v4 for a fourth time now, and Skittle is again put on that back burner.
Thankfully, they have quite a bit of time trying to force the Jaeger out position with a nade and then take him on the exit, but the nade is nowhere near, and he just hangs on, sits in that position. He's going to be there to waste time, to annoy them, and Corey's going to walk straight towards this smoke, potentially. Jaeger, you imagine, would nip round to get the shot, and he's nipped round and shot instead from the E-box hatch, as you like to call it.
And now we're in a 2-on-3, still in the favor of RCTIC, and they don't have to stall for that much time, but Skittle, they have a couple tricks up their sleeves. A nice play by Infurious, but really no one's here to try and stop him up until now, but he wins that gunfight. NW, though, around the corner shuts down Corey, now putting Infurious in a 1v2. He's got to fight two separate opponents, and they're so far away. A 3K comes out by Infurious, but can he get the fourth? He checks his right, but he's to his immediate left. He'll push on up above, and Mute knows he can stall for time. The plant has to go down by Infurious, and it could be instantly denied by Monks. He pushes in from the back stairwell. There could be just enough time, but he's out in the open. He has to turn around immediately. Infurious almost winning it, but he misses some vital shots. Now both players have a significant chance of winning this. Inferior wrapping around the corner. He doesn't know Monks is deep inside a freezer, though. A massive clutch by RCTIC, and they'll still remain in this fight as he gets to defuse with plenty of time left on the clock.
Fellow, the Freudian slip, Inferior. You cursed him. He loses the fight. Monks, clearly the superior player, coming out on top. RCTIC bring it back. So close. In the 2 versus 4, you think it's all done for Skittle.jpg. They somehow bring it back to that 1 versus 1. Crazy scenes here, but it's not over yet. RCTIC still have a chance to bring it all the way back. They could even take 2 points in overtime.
A choked win by Infurious. He tried so hard to win that, and the one kill that mattered the most out of all of it, he lost just because he wasn't playing in the back. He couldn't, though. He had to plant that bomb in such a poor position due to time, and it really bit him in the end because he couldn't sit all the way in the back of laundry. He couldn't really sit in closet because what if Mute just whipped around with a shotgun? He had to basically just try to sit in the middle of laundry room itself and hope for the best, and that's where Monks was able to deny it with the 1-pump shotgun to the chest, and it just sealed the deal for RCTIC. So they're still going to be in it to win it for a little while longer. They'll go back to Kids in Dorms, which they ended up losing on their second time going here, but the first time, like we saw, 5v2 almost instantaneously. This is a complete coin flip as to who could end up winning out this round.
This site is probably the toughest one to call of the map so far, and how typical that on the match point, the 6-5, do we go to overtime? Is it a win for Skittle? Of course we go right back here. There is no real surprise. Of course, it's just the ECS way.
Yeah, no, I was taking a sip of my drink, and I thought you were gonna say another sentence there. That was a little awkward, but that's okay. It happens. But yeah, it makes sense. You can't really go. We obviously can't go supply. You just won that. And meeting room, they haven't won a single time. We saw that 1v1 clutch by Corey happen against, I believe it was VIP on the smoke. So it does make sense. Hey, at least we won this objective room one time. Maybe we can bring it back to overtime. And it's all going to come down to this. We either see a decisive victor or we see overtime come into effect. And that could be really devastating to have, to be honest. But already a decent amount of utility being burned. There goes one out of your 2 Vulcan shields. And that back wall inside a closet is not reinforced. It appears that RCTIC tried going for some sort of extension.
Ooh.
It won't work out as anticipated, but on the bright side, Kusik is there to make up for it. He'll find a great entry onto Lord Banksy and already start this ball rolling closer and closer towards an overtime possibility.
Oh, one more for the Jaeger. He's not done yet, shooting around, drones shooting out a lot of men. Importantly, Corey down both of those soft breaches off the board. So those Banshees are very, very safe in those positions, except for the nade. Sockeye comes in, he gets one, but is shut down immediately. NW picks up a double. He's going to deny the player on the floor, holding the diffuser with a C4, and it's all down to Inferius yet again. But a 1 versus 1 he couldn't win. Now he's got to deal with 4.
Oh man, we already could be going into overtime, and there we have it. He won't even find 1 in compensation. VIP with the deep angle. Actually, no, he wasn't even that far away. He was quite close. He was right near the foosball table, but a nice angle regardless. He gets rid of Inferius off the board, and now we go into round number 13. We're heading to overtime on Oregon. What more could you ask for, chat?
Tell us. Let us
Yeah,
know.
we want to know.
I imagine Clash would be the answer.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. I could agree. Yeah, I get behind that. That's pretty fun.
There isn't much missing from this game. It's got a little bit of everything so far, which is why it just can't end, really. RCTIC, in the middle of those defenses there, midway through their defensive half, looking weirdly shaky, and then on either side, it's bookended by incredibly smart, aggressive play that Skittle couldn't deal with. They seemed caught off whenever Kusik or Tricky tried to aggress on them, and surely there's a point where you realize it's happening and you maybe bring something along to deal with. Bring out that lion, maybe, or mess around with some, maybe even bring the jackal and just deal with them nice and quickly.
One up that I'm surprised that we're seeing is Sledge. This is probably the worst site he can go to on this map because you really can't do any vertical play when going up towards laundry and supply. Almost all of the flooring and ceiling area is hard. It's not soft destructible. So
Wrong guess, maybe?
Really?
I don't know. I mean, you know, it's overtime. RCTIC can pick either site. You would anticipate the basement, generally. So maybe they thought they would. Maybe it was like a psych out sort of thing where they expected them to do the surprise pick. I don't know.
I
Might have
guess.
had some sort of element on it. Regardless, I mean, Stockeye, he's a man you want with the L85 because it's a super strong gun for a super strong man, and he's got 2 frag grenades as well, so he can do a lot with that utility, even if his primary may not be the same way.
Yeah, probably a Maverick just would have been better, to be frank, because you can still get that hatch opened up as well. But you know what? I agree. I think the LA85 is one of my favorite guns to use in the game currently.
Yeah.
So and frag grenade's always nice. It's a good finishing touch. So it's still not a bad op. Just could have been better. That's all I really had to say about it. But a pretty decent roam clear coming out by Skittle.jpg. Doesn't really matter what operator you have on that roam clear, especially when you have at least Inferius to back you up, whether it be on the Yana, which we are seeing, or somebody else. So great intel to be gathered up. RCTIC kind of aware that we're not seeing a blue bunker push, so they're beginning to transition themselves back into the actual bomb site. So they're going to heavily rely on this roam game, and it hasn't really been cleared out just yet, but we're already seeing them begin to retreat. So it's pretty all over the place right now for RCTIC, but at least they'll still keep that man advantage in no one's favor, as they'll keep things a 5-on-5 as the first minute comes to an end.
Skittle.jpg, they've not been caught off early this time. That is a big difference, but they still could be as they wander in towards Tricky, shooting out a Gemini, not the real one, and off she goes. Backs all the way down. Good bit of Gemini play there from Inferius. all 5 defenders now sitting very deep. There's a very different RCTIC play, and you know what? This plays definitely into the hands of Skittle, because their weakest part so far has been this roam clear. They've struggled with it so much, and now they can use those Selmas to get the hatch wide open and start putting some pressure on directly to the site. It's going to be a pretty straightforward, can we walk through the doors type situation. Can we win the quick peek fights, which is going to be really tough to do.
Especially when you have to go up against all 5 of the defenders for RCTIC. Everyone's still alive and on full HP, and they're just in incredibly difficult positions to outmaneuver yourself against. So this could be devastating for Skittle.jpg. They have to win at least one round where they're going up against a defensive hold, and this one might not actually happen. C4 narrowly missing out against Infurious. He'll luckily live to tell the tale, and the exact same thing happens with his grenade. NW only taking a sliver of HP away from his total HP kit, so still that 5-on-5, down to 30 seconds. Impact grenade goes across the ways, and it will deal a decent amount of damage, but still, no one's died yet, but here comes the utility dump and the gunfights as well. Tricky picks up 1, smoke grenades in the background. Lord Banksy finds 2, though, making things a 3-on-3 as Vip gets a refrag, but across the ways, he hops right on into Closet and shuts down Vip. Now he can go for the plant. Perfect coverage as well. Skittle.jpg has been able to reclaim this bomb site, and it's perfectly covering the plant. Now, RCTIC is in a horrible position. A 3K now for Banksy. Monks, though, through the wall gets one on the Corey, but he's got to find 2 more, and very minimal time to work with as well. He goes for the C4 toss, but right in the corner of Closet, will shut down 1. And there it goes. Skittle.jpg out of nowhere just rush right into the bomb site and somehow win that 13th round.
Nerves of steel. We staying in a rough and a very dangerous position as well, but it works out for him. High risk, high reward. They take, again, they're on match point. We've seen this before, but they lost the remaining 2 rounds straight afterwards to bring us to overtime. They lose the 2 here. They are done for. That's it. They only get 1 point. They're at least guaranteed 1, both teams, which I would say is very well deserved. I don't think anyone deserves to go with less than a point today, but they want those 2. They want that little bit of an advantage, especially given how tight Majors is going to be this season. As we've already all said, pretty much the staff, I'm sure most of the players know as well, it's going to be so tight this season, and that 1 point difference could be crucial. If Skittle are going for like these top spots, they're gonna need it.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of happy with what Skittle.jpg is doing right now. They are just throwing out the random site. They were thinking, oh, RCTIC believes that we'll go laundry or we'll go top floor, and no, they go meeting room. So that could be really rough for RCTIC because they haven't done the best of jobs when attacking this bomb site. We've seen some great flanks come out by Lord Banksy, some amazing 3Ks as well by, I believe it was either Stotch or Infurious.
Yeah, it was Stockeye. So,
yeah, it was Stockeye. Yeah, and the Valkyrie, because we were making the joke like he just wanted to get the 3K to put it in the statistic board. Yeah, it was a pretty funny joke. So I like what Skittle.jpg is doing. That's the consensus that I'm drawing everyone towards, because
you're jerrying me. You're saying the joke is funny.
I mean, it is.
Just fills me with, just drains my confidence entirely. There you go.
Hey, I mean, you gotta expect it, right? But yeah, I mean, still, maybe we'll see another 3K. Who really knows? I've still been keeping them down pretty well for the most part. So, yeah.
I mean, there was one in the last round as well. A bit of an absence throughout the middle of the game, but they're pretty high. The impact plays across from individual members of the game right now is insane. There's only 1 or 2 players who are really even slightly low on the kills, and I guess that's really But playing that hard supporting role, and you know, he's running the UMP again. You can't really blame him too much. He's been very crucial in that kind of intel game. Sure, Skittle have been running quite intensely.
But on that last round, we saw him pick up 2 of the most important kills. One on the Vip, who could have denied the plant perfectly inside of Closet, and then he ended off the last player on that past round. So he's still been getting great kills, even though they haven't been a lot of them, similar to what his team has been doing. I mean, all of them but Lord Banksy have been dropping double digits, and of course, the player of that we mentioned. But one player, Infurious, he'll be gone off the board. Now RCTIC has the man advantage, but they still have a lot of work to do. There's still players up above, like Corey, for example, who could either trade things out or just waste a ton of time up against this attack. So, you know, even though RCTIC may have that man advantage, they still have to get a lot of map control to back up that man advantage.
Here we are, it's the Oregon stall. They're starting to burn utility now. There goes a bulletproof camera. There goes some drones as well. And there goes the first man. And it's VIP, a very important pick to get. It's the Maverick off the board. And such an important fragging man. Stockeye, the other important fragging man right now on the Valkyrie, picks up one.
There we have it. Skittle, they reclaim their man advantage. And like I said, Corey up above, stalling for so much time. And now manpower as well. This could be all over for RCTIC because they're just in a horrible position. I cannot sugarcoat that whatsoever. They're going to have to just go guns blazing into the bomb site, and that looks to be in through security, where two gaping holes are in the premises at the current moment. They walk right on in the kitchen, maybe going for a plant, but Corey up above is completely uncontested. He annihilates another, and Lord Banksy follows suit. It's a 1v3 now, all up to Kusik. Everything is on the line. He has to ace in this position, but he'll pick up a 3K for himself. He'll go for the plant, but the audio cue has been heard by both We and Stock. C4 comes out. Will it connect, though? It won't, but We around the corner will connect his shots with that UMP 45 and Skittle.jpg. Although it took them up until overtime, they'll win this best of one 7-6, or 8-6, sorry.
They take 2 of the points here today, 1 going to their competitors, RCTIC, and what a fight it was. Both teams being completely dominant over the other, just round to round. It was just back and forth like crazy. That being said, a lot of rounds where it came very, very close to the wire. I think that game had a little bit of everything you want in a match, especially on a map like Oregon, where sometimes it can be a little bit stale.
Plenty of kills, plenty of 3Ks, so we can have our own little inside joke about that time and time again. So another one happened too, because we didn't see Zofia pick up another one after that 3K. So hey, there we go. But we're going to keep things quick. We'll go into a short little break so we can get the other matchup started up. So we'll see you all in about five or so minutes, give or take. But we hope you all stay tuned for the second matchup of this evening.
Hello, I'm
Hello,
Jerry.
everybody. Oh my god, Ebac, you ruined it. Amazing. Alright, so as you can tell already, we're doing something slightly different here. We were short of an observer, so and we're
Hi, I'm
short of
Jerry.
producers at the moment, so I'm basically fulfilling both roles. Which means that I've jumped in here and we've got myself observing, producing, and I've got Ebac and Fellow either side of me here. You can't see them because this has been thrown together very
Hi, I'm
last second.
Jerry.
Ebac, shut up. What's wrong with you? Also, just as we went live, we had a 10-player lobby ready, and now that's diminished to 8. So we're going to waffle with my face on screen for a little bit if you all don't mind at home. Fellow,
Oh,
Ebac, how
man.
was that game? That last one?
Really good, to be honest. Wasn't anticipating overtime, but even though I hate Oregon, it was still a pretty enjoyable overtime to watch. It was 8-6 victory for Skittle.jpg, and overall their entire team did really good, to say the least.
Yeah, it was quite a fun one to watch. I was semi-distracted throughout the whole thing, but yeah, my inclination was that Skittle.jpg would win that going into it, and Kenny, being a sort of ex-Skittle player, was a bit saddened at the post game about the end result. But you got to hand it to RCTIC. They've been climbing constantly. They entered the league in the Open Division a couple of seasons ago, managed to push for the finals, and now they're like battling up against the best of them. So it's a good start for them.
Yeah, and we're still commentating the major division right now. It's Bulldog versus Footprint Group,
Footprint
and
Gaming,
we're heading
apparently. They changed it at like.
Oh,
at
they
the
changed
trial.
it?
Yeah, so it's Footprint Gaming, I think, is what they're going with.
Oh, Footprint Gaming. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference. So I am actually gonna write that down now. So.
It just sounds so much better, right? Like Footprint
That
Gaming.
yeah, that is true though. It does sound better than Group. I'm gonna be honest with you on that one. Yeah.
But Ebac, you gave a lot of the players that we're looking at in lobby here some awards last season. Maybe you want to talk us through some of those and remind us of these characters that we've got.
Hi, I'm Jerry.
Shut up. That bit got old like in the first 30 seconds. Damn it. We can never have a serious
We got
cast.
some good characters here. We got some really good lads. It's pretty much the same guys. We know basically everyone in this lineup. The only real change, like Footprint, they've picked up Noodle, formerly of Lions Creed and XMNs, I believe, as well. At one point, he was one of the only players to play Clash last season. So I'm very excited to see him in action, especially for a team like Footprint, who under Makers last season, of course, played loads of different ops and were doing lots of different things. So I'm really excited to see if they do offer that up. And they're certainly bringing something interesting along with our map today, Jerry.
They are. I was thrilled to see it, but they are bringing us to Consulate. I never get to see Consulate games. I think they're so much fun. A lot of mixed opinion in the community about Consulate and its place in the map pool, but I'm a staunch advocate. I think it's one of the most interesting maps. It's got top-down play all around the map. There's lots of verticality. It's got that unique bomb site that we touched on, I think, recently. Back in another cast of ours, but about the split bomb site, which I think is the only one.
Well, when you said you have to get the pulse to tell us you where the attackers are.
That was a real low point, wasn't it?
Oh, that's some pro analysis there.
But yeah, it's a great map. I can't wait to see it, and we're still waiting on our teams to sort of fully load in. A couple of issues with Moss, it looks like, might be going on, but they're trying to get things sorted out. So, yeah. Consulate.
Yeah.
Consulate. It's a good map for testing, like for testing a team. It really is where a good team can really come and dominate. You've got to pay attention to so much as well. You've got to have so much drone presence. Teams with strong amounts of intel and team play, as well as individual moments, especially from strong roamers, can really sway around here.
It's probably the most 50-50 sided map you can play on in the current competitive pool. I always like to mention that because it's really any team's game, you know? if you're not the best on defense, then you can still do pretty good. There's plenty of sites that are great on this map, like the basement one inside for garage and cafeteria. And then there's also archives and tellers, which normally you just bring 80 different nitro cells and just try to blow people up from underneath. But normally that works out pretty well. So, that's why it's always brought. But still, it's a good map to go over specifically. And I think you made a great amount of highlights when you brought it up as well.
Yeah, I think that it's a horrible map to defend in a lot of cases, quite honestly. I think that the top floor especially gets very claustrophobic very quickly, depending on the ways that attackers like to go about their push. You see, if they just repel, then there's so many angles that you can't move to as a defender. There's a take that works surprisingly well where you literally just repel on all sides of the building and then send someone in eventually to sort of force a bit of a scramble. And as long as attackers are holding their angles well enough, then they'll get a few free picks and manage to force a plant down because the site entry is that direct. But I haven't seen this take attempted that much recently, and it's strange because I feel as though there's a lot of strength to it. Instead, we see a lot more almost traditional styles of admin tapes on the top floor, and yeah, those can work. But I'm just wondering whether it's something that teams should be kind of wise to as an attacking strategy at this level, because I don't see it enough personally.
It's one of those maps, like you were saying before, I think, fellow, on Oregon, where the bans can be really particularly impactful. I think Consulate here is probably even the most extreme version of that. You often see that kind of Nomad Valkyrie sort of play. They are two of the most important operators to bring here. And banning them out, banning other things out, it means that you might have that Thatcher free or something to that effect, and that can really mix it up. So especially from Footprint and Bulldog, you never know quite what to expect. These are probably the two teams in Major Division right now that it's hardest to call.
Yeah, and it's especially, again, 50-50 map. Some bomb sites absolutely horrible, like Jerry mentioned, the top one in particular. So it, like I said, coin flip. It's a heads or tails kind of moment for both these teams. So it's gonna just come down to probably a lot more kills and then just map control for the most part. So, I just want to see the game be played out before, I really want to start saying anything. And we're still waiting on one player, unfortunately. So still having a couple of issues with them, but eventually they'll come back in. At least I hope.
Yeah,
Meme Lord himself.
It should be sooner rather than later by the looks of things, which is good. So yeah, hopefully we're on the end of this wait. But yeah,
Gerald, which picture of is it of you right now on the screen?
Picture of it? It's a webcam. So yeah, at the moment, this is so ad hoc right now. We've got Fellow and Ebac are just sort of voices in my room, and they can't see what's going on coming out to stream, but they can see the game. So we're gonna have a good trio cast on our way. And yeah, our last player is finally loading in. We just had a couple of moth issues, and now it looks like those are resolved. So yeah, my guess is 30-40 seconds or so, and then we can finally get in. And again, yeah, apologies for like the odd the logos and all that stuff. We've been trying our best to sort of keep the streams afloat right now at ECS, and this is the culmination of that, shall we say? Just a little ad hoc stream at the end of the week to make sure we get all of the major action for the week. So yeah, bear with us, and it will get back to usual fairly soon. We do have our final player in the lobby, so just going to wait on those readies, and looks like they are here. So without further ado, let's transition over to the game.
Oh, here we are over on Consulate. What a great place to be. We've spoken about the importance of it as a map within the map pool. It's so great to see coming out. It's a bit of variation, even just for one degree. And there's a lot you can do here, and a lot of it comes down to these bans. So, Fellow, I'm going to throw you right in the deep end. What do you think?
Well, might see a Thatcher ban or at least some type of hard breacher, but what you were mentioning earlier, I'm glad that you did, Nomad and Valkyrie. Those are probably two of the most banned operators, especially on this map in particular. Nomad can be used pretty effectively to deny a lot of runouts, and if you know anything about Consulate, runouts happen almost all the time. It's second nature for most teams when they're going this bomb site. But like I said earlier, Thatcher will be on the chopping block first and foremost. And then we might see that flank denial operator or runout denial operator of Nomad followed up.
It makes sense. Footprint starting on the defense going
And
for
it
that
won't be.
ban.
Okay.
Bulldog going for the Jackal as the first ban. That's not necessarily something that I do expect to start off with, but it's going to mean that those flanking players that I was talking about, those roaming impact players that we can expect definitely to see from Footprint, there is going to have a much tougher time here. And there we are, the Valkyrie. That makes a lot of sense.
So these are two bans that basically state your intent, right? You know, you've got the Jackal.
It says in with us, Jerry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course I'm casting with you.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
No.
I thought you meant just for the break. I didn't mean you. Okay, cool.
Why not? We got the three of us. This is our low tech solution.
In ages.
We can manage it. We're all seeing it all at the same time. So yeah, Kaid, a sensible ban. So the Thatcher Kaid coming out from Footprint is super like stock meta, but the Jackal Valkyries, like, it looks as though Bulldog have taken the initiative with this ban phase, to be honest. They've said, okay, we don't want to have to deal with any sort of infringement on our roam game when it comes to the defensive half. We want to have that freedom. And on the attack, they don't want to have to deal with Black Eyes. They want full control outside the building and that kind of safety to approach. And with the Nomad making his way through the ban phase as well, and being picked out here by Cole Cobra, who we know his name is Jerry. Haha. Jerry.
Hey.
He's going to be very
I'm
comfortable
Jerry.
outside. No.
Yeah.
We've all got two Jerrys here. We can't have three.
I mean, we got 3 casters. Why not make it 3 Jerrys, you know? Kind of just, the 3's kind of the magic number right now, I suppose.
3 is definitely your magic number, you two. With the 3
Oh,
phase all the time.
good pickup. Yeah, that's a good point. All right.
Oh my word, it's witches. It's Shakespeare all over again.
Oh man. Surprised we're going this site first. This is probably the worst objective you can defend in the current meta right now. Normally you see cafeteria or garage being played with that site, or archives and tellers. Especially when Mira's on the board, that operator didn't get. No, it got banned. Or was it a kite? I can't recall. I wrote down Mira, but I have a gut feeling I'm wrong. Yeah, I wrote down Mira, but I saw the kite ban. I was just anticipating it. But surprised we're not going in objective room when Mira's on the board, because she can make it a pain to defend that bomb site. But I mean, hey, at least get the worst site out of the way first, I suppose, but it still definitely leaves a lot more questions that can't really be answered.
I like how Jeff is alongside Jeff Samboy here. On this window as well. They're such a perfect duo.
Reload! Having a good old time, and in they go. They seem nice and clear, and off they move. They haven't made a mistake. Thankfully, the droning has been nice and efficient. They've seen that mute jammer, and now they can move ahead even further with that droning play. They'll surely spot the yellow pings come out towards the player over by Coffee. And there goes Jeff to try and put pressure on him. Simple enough, he just eats up Cat Solar.
Well, great entry by Bulldog, I suppose, and they have complete control of admin now, so they can just start pushing right on into the bomb site itself. Roston, though, has got something to say about it. He picks off one. That's a trade now on to Jeff, but there's still plenty of players from that eastern side of the map that he's going to have to worry about. It'll have to be at least a 3K for him to completely deny that push, so it's not completely over just yet. There's still a lot of food that Footprints now have to bite off of their plate, so I wouldn't count out Bulldog just yet.
They seem to be stacking completely for this admin take. Now, we saw some pressure earlier from iFlugo on that repel, but now it's moved completely from this lateral into this lateral push. They've cleared the mute jammer, which is going to help them to unseat it. But with Playday sitting here on the shield behind Long, he can protect Rustin not just on Long, but he also probably has an angle towards the projector door. So that's one to watch out for.
Classic take. I haven't seen one like this in quite a while. Just east versus west right now. You've got the older lined up. You've got those smoke canisters as well. Tough match for all those attackers. They got to start picking off some men. They're losing health though at the moment. iFlugo taking the brunt of the damage there, and the air jabs from Colt Cobra not going to be effective right now. Just shot on the wall. Close to Rustin. He's seen the head of the Zofia. Can't quite, not the Zofia, whoever that was, tucked in the corner. Now 35 seconds left. Fellow, it's a tough move from here.
Surely, and for the most part, Bulldog is trying to just funnel in through that Visa stairwell doorway. The Ana hologram comes in, it'll gather some intel, but not enough. Jeff's fanboy trying to find one across the ways, but the shots are not going to land. Still that 4-on-4. We're down to 15 seconds. This looks almost hopeless unless a kill comes out, but it won't kill a Tater, and Carry will find kills of their own. Now 1v4, and the round is basically one for Footprint. They won't get the last player of Jeff's fanboy just yet, but it's still a win regardless. Great defensive hold by Footprint, and because of that, they'll take the first round in strides.
Strange bit of play at the start for the first man to fall, but from that point, it was a simple just hold the ground, no pressure from the other side, no flank across by yellow stairs, no real window presence. They could have maybe gone towards that connector window, even just opened it. Bray put some pressure on any other angle, the bathroom window, for example, but very, very little offered up by Bulldog. They all sat there in that central area, and you know what? When an attack does that, it's so easy to just hold them back with pure utility.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the entry come out by Bulldog initially, and it really looked like they had that round in the bag, but then it got traded out by Rostin. And then they didn't really move at all. They just kind of sat inside of admin the entire round and didn't move a muscle. So Footprint just took advantage of that. They forced Bulldog to waste all of their time, and then when the funnel came out, they had plenty of utility to deny the push overall. So it was a pretty decisive round win for Footprint, and now they're actually going to go Cafeteria and Garage, and they actually bring the mirror, like I mentioned earlier. So I'm very happy to see that. So I guess I was right. They wanted to get the possibly worst objective room out of the way first, and now they're heading in towards the bomb sites that are actually difficult for Bulldog to attack.
Attackers' objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it. Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
So the team is setting up for a fairly heavy roam here, with both the GSG-9 operators, Katsola and Karyudo on the top floor. I was about to say the duo of Ks, but they actually have 3 there. And yeah, they are just hunting. This is gonna be a thorn that Bulldog needs to remove from the map. We've even got Kiliator downstairs right now, just lurking inside of Visa. He may have been droned out there, but he has a C4 in pocket, so if this is an admin clear, which would be the sort of standard and expected way to go about it, then they might get a few kills here. We also see Jeff playing some pressure to the top of yellow, and that's important. He's going to cut off any retreating defenders. So Jeff needs to make his way through, and Kiliator needs some intel to try and land this C4. Or he could just stay up here and hold the pinch angle with Karyudo.
Jeff does have the support. He's being droned out in front as well as the man behind for the refrag, just in case. And they're going to have to because he's been taken out. There we go. He does. Shock takes the kill on to Karyudo. Nice quick trade from him. One of the Germans still alive is going to back all the way off. And Kiliator will do likely the same without throwing a C4 beforehand. Doesn't connect with anyone necessarily. And there we go. A decent bit of play from Bulldog. Countered a little bit by Footprint. Not really much to say at this point. A lot of the utility still available. The only difference is Bulldog have the ground.
They've wasted a lot of time, and Bulldog is still all the way up above on the second floor. They have to start going lower into the actual building to do that vertical play, remove the bandit batteries off of the main wall, and then start with that hard destruction by shock on the ace. So they're not in the best position. They're very short on time, but at least they still have 4 players to work with, and basically everyone can do their job here. That's the only thing they have looking forward towards them, but Footprint is in the exact same position. They just have to stall for about a minute more. They've got plenty of utility to do that. Maybe no C4s, but 3 Toxic Babes and an Evil Eye is more than enough to really start shutting down this push. Jeff will get lit up from across the ways behind the deployable shield. Cold Cobra picks up one onto Katsola, but they still have a lot to work with, Bulldog, because they still got to reach right in through that main wall of Garage and then start trying to go for that plant. This seems almost hopeless for them so far in these last 30 seconds of the round.
Attackers have located
They've
a
got the
bomb.
supports from above. It's the buck of Jeff starting to open these angles, putting pressure, especially onto Rastin. Hillier to sit in at the back. His position is known as well. Noodle with the older as well, sitting inside of that office. There's so many angles to contest here with the mirror still in position. They've got to start moving in and try and stick this plant. That's really their only hope here. And there's an evil eye staring right at them. It takes out, it wasn't the evil eye, it was the smoke killing the planting man. They have the diffuser again as Cold Cobra gets one kill. He's down in return. Jeff's still alive to cover this plant, but he can't. A kill coming out onto the planting man, and the time wins the round for the defensive footprint. The second in a row. Top, bottom. Now they're going for probably a middle/middle bottom.
Could be either, really. There's so many valuable and viable sites, I should say, and it's going to be lobby press as their preferred one. They don't want to go to that split one. Certainly an option. You've got Mirror, you've got Pulse, both making their way through the ban phase, so they could even continue to mix it up past this round, but they're looking pretty. They've already managed to secure 2 defensive rounds, which is decent on Consulate. This is probably one of the harder sites on the map to go with, and they're going to be rocking Mute, Mozzie, and Vigil. Not only that, but Maestro, an often overlooked drone denial operator. I kind of count him as one, because most of the time you're not denying plants or
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
much else
attackers.
with that kind of skin issue, probably. Oh no, that's just an oopsie. That is not a skin issue.
Oh.
He is fine.
Well,
There's one of those drone denial operators gone.
and one of your C4s.
Yeah.
So there's that. Well, okay then. It happens.
That's going to be tough, especially on a lobby hold where you really want to rely on a lot of your utility. The Jaeger Wamai, not bizarre to see here. The Mirror as well, usually opted for in this particular area. You can see her a lot of the time on the bathroom. Not having any of those options. And keep in
5
mind,
seconds left
look at
before
Noodle right
insertion.
now. Look at his weapon. In a 4 versus 5,
Attackers are
that's going to
moving
be
out to locate a bomb and
probably a
defuse
bit worse than you might be hoping for.
Yeah. That's the ACS 12, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I have to explain it because it's so rarely seen.
You have to
This is
announce
an
it.
awful slug
What is
shotgun.
this?
It's just an awful gun. It really isn't worth bringing. Maybe Noodle
Yeah.
wants it for a particular reason. He's definitely going for these 4 peaks, and he has the scope on it, so he wants to fight those long-range battles. But yeah, it's a risk, and when you're a man down by default, it's probably not worth the risk, unfortunately.
You kind of have to go for those risks sometimes, though, but maybe they'll find that pick just playing up above on this extension. Catsola, he'll get droned out. He's going to play a little bit further back all the way in the farthest region of that long desk area. And luckily, Carito has not been spotted out just yet. He'll pick up one on Jeff, and there's still plenty of players up above. Catsola finally leaving his mark onto Jeff's fanboy. Now a 4-on-3 favoring Footprint. They're beginning to fall back just a little bit into the bomb site, but there's still players up above. That Mozzie and Jaeger combination is still going to be a whole big nuisance for Bulldog as they try to clear out this top floor extension.
It's poor from Bulldog. I mean, allowing Cariudo to win that fight again, I think that's just a little bit too silly there, especially from the Ash. But thankfully, I mean, they've got still a bit going for them. They've still got some men remaining. They're half the round to exact their will. Cold Cobra could be a bit isolated out on this balcony. He certainly is. He's taken out, and now Ifluvio, it's his job to get this refrag. Can he confirm it? He finally can. The threat of Cariudo, a threat no more.
Minute left, and there's still a lot that Bulldog has to do here. Killitator up above. He picks up a nice shot on Yana. It's just up to Shock now in a 1v3. Mozzie whipping out the pistol. He won't get the kill. It's in fact the AA-12 from the outside run out. A nice pick indeed, and that's going to guarantee Footprint a flawless first rotation on Consulate.
Flawless round?
No, flawless rotation.
No, no,
Like
would
the-
you call that a flawless round, though? They team killed and then won with 4
No,
men.
they still lost
That's
a
a
player.
good
They still
point.
lost a player, though.
I don't know. That's the ceremonial
think-
flawless
yeah.
round.
No, but they lost it. The Yana got a kill, though, still.
Oh,
That's
you're
what I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah, they did
Oh,
fight
yeah.
Mozzie at the top floor eventually. Okay, fair enough. It's
But if
kinda
that
like-
didn't happen, then I would, yes.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
call
kind
it a
Wait a
default
second, they're in the site.
flawless.
This is nice.
A little more casual.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jerry.
Wow.
In case you
Still going with that one. In case you've just joined us, this is a joke
Attackers
that
need to
EBAC has
locate and
been
defuse bombs.
just sticking. I don't quite get it.
Yeah.
But apparently he is Jerry.
Yeah,
Man.
that's FYI. I
You
mean,
guys had
whatever.
such a nice energy together, and I've just, like, pooed all over it. Right? I just turned up, been like, hey
It's
guys,
almost
I'm gonna
like
do
trio
everything
casting
at
doesn't
once.
work. Yeah, it's almost like trio casting doesn't work. But I mean, it's not you. It's not you. It's all of us. We're kind of just. It just happens.
I've had some, like, really nice trio casts in the past.
Yeah.
I'm gonna...
Really?
I'm very happy to play with that.
Attackers are moving to defuse the bomb.
We could.
Yeah.
We could.
Yeah. Happens. Not you. I mean.
Alright, Jerry, what's going on? You're Mr. Observer, man. Tell us what you've seen.
Well, I've just been kind of brain dead, no thoughts for the past entire setup phase. I was spectating mute, apparently. And right now that mute is coming under pressure. You've got a split take right here.
A bomb has
Admin
been located.
and everywhere else. Jeff is droning out for Jeff's fanboy. This is that dream duo that we were talking of before. And they haven't managed to make it work just yet. Oh no. Karyudo gets the long one. Katsola gets the short one. Oh, and that admin push is just dead in the water. We've got still Jeff repelling, and he's probably going to be taken down fairly soon. There's very little support for him. Fluvio is repelling the other side of the map with Shock. They haven't gotten in the building yet.
It's a really poor start, gotta say. I mean, we're reattempting this top floor footprint. They're giving it another go. And it's really tough to fault them right now. I mean, they've been flawless all the way through, pretty much. There's been very little to fault. And last time, it came from this very east versus west move. The attackers taking the east, trying to move across to the west, and couldn't. They've decided to take pretty much our advice from last time, which is to split up a bit, put other pressure on. But then the main men trying to take admin, they didn't even drone it properly.
And they paid the price with 2 players now dead, and it's a third because Killerator just annihilates Jeff from yellow, and now it's up to Shock and Fluvio. This might be a 4th round winner of a footprint because they have really not been able to do anything. Pretty much anyone that's tried to enter the building except for Shock has just been eradicated, let alone people even entering the building just outside. And Shock might meet his maker as well, but he actually wins the fight. Now he can be allowed upstairs, but he's still going to find so many more players, and Katsola will not give him any second chances. Now 1v4 all up to Fluvio, and I don't think he has this one in the bag. Nope, not at all. Okay.
Again, I mean, right now, the difference between these two teams is what we were talking about just before the game, which is that those roaming players who can have a big impact are super strong on this map. And right now, they're not getting past those 2 men. It's like the man 3 and 5 on your team. It's Killiator and Karyudo, top fragging at the moment. They can't get past. I mean, Katsola's doing a pretty solid job, but Noodle and Rastin, they barely had to come into the game. They've sat in the middle quite comfortably.
That they have. It's just not worked out for Bulldog at all. I feel for them. I really do. I thought that they were setting the pace with those bans, the Valk and the Jackal, but honestly, ex-makers or footprint here they are. I'm going to accidentally call them makers a few times because of the tag.
I mean, they've got it in their name.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
They haven't changed it
excusable.
yet. Come on, guys. Get with the program. Just leave it in the past.
Attackers need to locate and
Yeah,
defuse as many bombs as they
they've
can.
just been brutal, absolutely brutal. They've made it easy for themselves. They've gone with these strong operators and like said, okay, well, Mira's made her way back through the ban phase. We're going to use her as much as possible. Even when they were up against the Kosh on this last garage defense, it seemed very easy for them because of the cover that they had after burning a bit of time in the early game. And you know, when you're staring down the barrel of 2 mirrors, Evil Eyes, smoke with like plenty of gas canisters, and the Alda as well, that's worth a couple of bonus points by itself. It's not going to look good even if you've got an even man count in fact. So yeah, Footprint, they just set themselves up well and they're rolling with it. There's very little else to say about it because, you know, how do you analyze a role like this? I don't want it to keep being a role.
Yeah, it's strong utility play from they're bringing all the right ops to do the job, and you've got to clear those out. You've got to make sure that you can deal with that utility as early as possible before the execute. But right now, they're not even getting really into the building. As soon as they make any sort of entry, it's the Karyudo, it's the Killiator playing nice and wide, roaming around, finding these picks. Right now it is Catsola and Karyudo doing that job. And there we go,
Oh
the same thing.
goodness.
He's outside, he's running around. This time he is picked off before he can get back in. Cold Cobra seals it for the AK-74, which is a very good start for Bulldog. I mean, I say very good start. They've already lost one there.
Yeah, that's a huge slap in the face. Almost losing a second, but that C4 narrowly missing onto the body of just Fanboy. He'll live to see a couple more moments, and the wall bang connects. Both players narrowly evading death, but still things will remain in a 4-on-4. And Catsola, if unchecked, he might find one because people are beginning to drop in towards the main part of Visa, or at least they're right up above it. Maybe they won't. They could actually end up repositioning themselves all the way to the western side of the map. So maybe I'm completely wrong. Who knows? I clearly don't know right now because it's still 1:40 on the clock.
I think if anything tells you what to expect from Footprint right now in terms of the way they're playing, look at Catsola's secondary gather. He's not got the C4, he's got the barbed wire, which I think tells you everything you need to know. He's delaying, just using his life to delay and pick a few kills, annoy them a bit. He's certainly doing this. He's been spotted, and he's going to back off now. But he's got that barbed wire tucked in on the site just to help out everyone late if they need it. So far, they haven't really been required. They've been tested very little on their back legs, their front legs being the strongest right now. I guess the proverbial, I don't know, animal that I'm coming up with, the Footprint, to maybe be a bit tougher than the Bulldog. Maybe it's like a horse or something.
Oh,
Yeah, you never know.
On the flank again. That's crazy. He just wasn't done. Jeff Fanboy at least shuts him down. Wow. Okay. So they just keep taking bites out of Bulldog, but I mean the Bulldog are biting back at least. I just want to highlight how well Rasen's been playing this particular pipes position. He's had to be forced away from it now as the bottom of Spiral is lost. And Jeff Fanboy is doing a sort of solo droning mission from that position himself. But with only 30 seconds left, we've got ourselves... well, it's going to be a bit of a showdown here. Jeff providing that pressure from behind, though, does nullify some of the threat of the mirrors, but Killiator just shuts it down. Rasen with the shotty on yellow finds one, and now it's all up to the Ace, who will take down one, but he's met with Killiator and that Vector yet again.
Utility, it's still there. You've got the mirrors, you've got the evil eyes, the smokes. The key men are all still alive, and they've been tested very little so far. The bottom floor is where we've seen the attack of Bulldog come a little bit closer, more so than anything else, but they still can't take it. It's 5-0 a deficit. And Noodle, I said it before the game, the one man for Lions Creed last season to bring out the clash. Will he do it now? He loves E-Back. I love him if he'll stick it.
He just might. I mean, he put it in chat. He's kind of like forcing himself to run with the bit. I mean, I don't blame him. This is probably the best site you can bring Clash on as well because it can completely deny the main doorway push. So, yep. And, oh my god.
And here it is already, the first clash. Thank you very much, Noodle. I was drawing attention to it. I think I mentioned it to him the other day. The last time he brought it out was on Oregon. Second floor Kid Storms. I think it was Playday 3 last season in ECS. And they didn't make the rotate high enough. So he got stuck in the corner and they all killed him. It was not the most successful clash play. But here we go. Lobby and Press. A great spot there because she can just stand in that main doorway as long as you have pressure behind. She can just be a right nuisance towards anyone coming in this side. It's a really great spot. She can just walk outside if you've got the right kind of presence as well. And just pick everybody.
She's a portable Mira, especially with Rook on the board. That 2.0 optic, I mean, if not dealt with properly, this could just be free kill after free kill for Footprint. And oh my god, look at what Catsola is bringing on the table as well. He's got the Boss G in hand. I was going to mention that when we saw the AA-12 in the hands of, I believe it was Noodle a few rounds prior, but now it's the Boss G in the hands of Catsola, who's been doing quite well. He's going for a streak, and oh my goodness, he hits it! What a shot by Catsola! He only needs one to connect on the Cold Cobra, and there we have it. Footprint already gained the man advantage. What a beautiful shot by Catsola, and he is out for more blood.
Oh, the Boss G Clash combo for a round. What can you do much better than that? I mean, you could put an ACOG on it as well. That's a pretty good way to do it. And right now, Footprint again have the advantage. Remember, they can move to match point here. They'll be going for a flawless game. So will Killiator going 8-0 right now.
Oh my god. I'm still watering at the mouth from that Boss G kill. That was so nice to see. Ivan.
Very curious about this pulse.
Oh my god.
The pulse,
that
he's
was...
just feeding the intel to anyone that's playing on the top floor for these long angles. And like it's that's all that Footprint want to do is play long angles right now. That's why they have the Boss G, that's why they have the Rook, but he's been taken down. So a bit of punishment now that the attackers have map control. These weapons are going to start to work against them. I don't know if Katsola is going to see quite as much value with the Boss G as he was earlier. Rastin needs to step up and actually maybe make an attack of his own as he sees some players making their way up these stairs to try and get that top floor control. Karyudo's really the only presence on this top floor right now is that Jaeger inside of bathroom, and he's getting some support now from Katsola. There is pressure onto him. The yellow stairs are locked down from the players on the attack, and he will take the peek. Does not land the shot though. Karyudo will eat up one as he walks on into toilets, but doesn't check. And there's a second Boss G, and it was a down actually onto Ifluvio. Perhaps that was from the Jaeger. I'm not too sure. Or was it the Boss G? Down goes another. Oh no, not quite landing the lethal shot, and it just takes half of Shock's HP away. He's really hungry for this though. Finally, Shock will shut that vigil down, and it's a 1 versus 2 effectively. Make it a 1 versus 1, as now Noodle's the last one alive. Ifluvio is in the DBNO state, but Noodle has gotten really close to Shock, and he has the call that the Boss G shot is on him. He knows that he's low. He's going to go for the Shock kill.
It's never happened in ECS history. There's never been a single zap kill in Major Division. This is the time she can get the down. Sophia, she pulls the shield away. It's so close. Noodle, can he do it? He's seen the player is still down. There's no revive. Shock is on such low health. Shock indeed. The timer does the job onto the Sophia, and Shock, he has the diffuser here. But it's perfect player coming into the clash right now. 10 seconds. Shock, can he do this? He's got smokes, they're not going to help out. He's trapped inside the bathroom. Does Noodle know? He does now. 5 seconds. Can he kill with the ticks? He does.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
With the clash to win the single round for Footprint.
Oh my god, it worked. Oh my goodness. Out of all the games for it to happen, it had to be on this one. A Boss G Vigil, a Rook, a Clash. It all works perfectly for Footprint, and now they bring us into match point. What are we witnessing right now, fellas?
That was Noodle just, like, playing perfectly into the fact that he knows Ebac is casting. Like,
true.
I saw it coming, I was like, I gotta hand to Ebac now. This is his moment.
So many firsts. We've never seen a clash on Consulate. That's one thing. We've never seen a clash get us. I mean, we've seen. No, I don't think we've ever seen a zap kill because I did my percentages last season. There was only one zap kill. I think that was in contenders last season, but not in majors. We have never ever seen this in ECS. I'm so satisfied it's all come out together, and also the clutch. I mean, it's fantastic. Great job, Noodle.
Can I just point out, those are his 2 kills so far. He was on a donut before that. And he got his 2 kills as Clash.
He didn't get the
No,
Sophia.
that was Jaeger. He got his kill confirmed.
Did he not
Sophia
zap
bled out.
Sophia down?
No, yeah, it was just Ace, sadly.
I'm sad.
Hate to see it. But
technically a 1v2.
Still, he doubled his kill
yeah,
tally
still won
as
it.
a Clash.
A win, that's all that matters. So now Footprint has match point. Yeah.
What have Bulldog got to offer on their defenses to bring this back? We've seen it in ECS past 6-0 all the way back. The difference is we'll have overtime at the end of it if Bulldog wants to do it. They're gonna have to win what, like 7-8 rounds in a row to try and do that. It's gonna be a tough ask. If there's a team who could probably have the gall to do something like that, it would be Bulldog, I would imagine. Kicking off door, Footprint, they've got the gall to burst on in with a seeming rush. They're shooting out their own drones, but they're shooting out men. Importantly, Jeff gets the refrag onto Rastin before this move can happen to slow them down a little.
This push is being denied quite well, so all of that steam has simmered down now. Footprint, they're still going for the aggression though. Noodle finds one, and Jeff again on the refrag eliminates Care. Now it's a 3-on-3, but This is still the first minute of the round, for Christ's sake, and 4 people have already died, make it a 5th and a 6th. Kills coming out left and right. Cold Cobra shuts down Killator, and now we're technically in a 1v2 as there are 2 players currently injured.
Gonna be revived, thankfully. 1 minute of play gone, only 1, and there are 5 remaining players. 2, make that 4. 2 players now for the attack. Going to be in a much better position as they do eventually finish. Yeah, he gets back up only to get back down. 2 jabs still remaining for the Nomad could be helpful in shutting down the rotations of these final 2 defenders. You've got to get through, and it's going to be such a tough move. Stuns coming towards the Maestro, put pressure on, and Stuns also coming towards this smoke. It's going to be so tough to move. He protects himself with the Cloud, and Noodle and Katsola both on 2 low health to actually go and push through it.
Man, this is so incredibly close, and like you said, the fact that Noodle and Katsulo are on such little HP could be their demise, but Cold Cobra no longer having any toxic babes left, and at the exact same time, Footprint has plenty of utility and time to work with. The angle comes up by Katsola, but he shoots far too early, but Maestro has 0 Q. That's a lot of damage being done, but luckily, Cold Cobra will manage to shut down Noodle. Now a 1v2 has to be had, and Katsola needs to pick up 2 separate frags, like I just mentioned, to win this one out, but he gets the wallbang kill on the Fluvio. Now he's only going to pick up 1 more on a Cold Cobra. Can he do it? That's the real question. He does not have Carrier by his side, but he can still win this as long as he wins the gunfight. He has no clue where exactly Cold Cobra is positioned, and currently he's in a great spot behind those PVC pipes in the deep angle towards that blue area.
Oh, it's all come down to this. Do Footprint get the flawless game? It's so close here. He pre-fires the smoke, but the smoke pre-fires him a little bit more successfully. Cold Cobra takes the first round, and is this where the comeback is mounted from, Jerry?
Could be, but I mean, that was just a rush gone wrong. I'm gonna say nah. Yeah, I'm with you there, fella. It's I think Footprint just they overstepped the mark slightly, which is ironic, but they got a bit ahead of themselves.
Some of that play from the Buck with those angles open vertically, with the wall bang, it's just fantastic awareness of just the positioning. I don't know what they had necessarily in terms of intel, or whether that's just playing smart, but Katsola really proved himself to be a top tier player.
They really were just clinging on that entire round, Bulldog. Like, every single moment it looked as though they were about to go down. There was just a whiff of hope and survival about them. They just about managed it. There was that moment where we saw, I believe it was Cold Cobra on smoke just swing this door here, and this is the beauty of being able to observe and cast at the same time, is I can just go to these spots.
Yeah.
When he was playing this position inside the cafeteria, he got a swing onto Noodle at one point that just chunked him for about 75 HP, and that must have been so important come the late round, because Noodle just has to be so inch perfect with all of his engagements. Eventually he lost to the smoke swing with an SMG later on, and you know, unless you land that headshot, then it's a good thing that he does chunk him in that situation. So just taking their opportunities where they could made a big difference. I'm gonna pass it off to you now, fellow, to talk us through this setup that's been going on this archive setup.
Well, there's 4 nitro cells, so that's gonna mostly be used just to deny the plant that happens. There are a couple positions, of course, that Footprint could set themselves up in to not have to worry about the C4s. You can jump on top of one of the tables inside of tellers to not have to worry about it, so there's always that. But also Bulldog has extended up above at least a fair bit. Jeff's fanboy and also Jeff are up there, the Mira and Castle combination, so they're going to try and stall that council push and also the admin push as well, setting themselves up in the back of the printer, I believe it to be. And an amazing shot happens to happen by Jeff's fanboy onto the Zofia player. So a pretty decent start so far for Bulldog. They might at least be able to pick up another round for themselves here, as they've already done a great job of burning 1 player off the board and 1 minute at the exact same time.
Good start, certainly promising for Bulldog, bringing it to a new site. I mean, a lot of new things coming out. They've won a round for 1. That's a good start. Though Jeff losing that much health is not fantastic. I don't know how.
Through the rotate.
That's insane.
But he just walked through it.
Watching from admin rappel, he just walks through coffin without dying.
I guess you just don't expect it. It's such a ballsy move. You're not quite ready.
Yeah.
He's what you'd call built different. It's an NA term. I don't know if
Free
you've
armor
heard it before.
definitely helps. You know, you don't always
He's
see
literally
it.
built different. You're right. If he wasn't 3 armor, he'd probably be dead.
Mm.
That's a good point.
Importantly, he has this C4. If he has the right intel from the pulsar, he's right underneath the player on the hatch. Very, very close there. C4, I believe, rings out there. Doesn't deal much damage. Oh, the Nera doesn't either. Dealt with by Cat Solar in the end. So the man count is equalized. Importantly, they've got this Buck to open these angles. Look at this. Fantastic play from the Buck yet again. Nice and smart to open the long angles, put so much pressure onto this pulse. It's going to be hard to throw those C4s that they've got stopped.
Getting a bird's eye view of the bomb site, maybe he can catch somebody off guard, but at least they can try to cover this plant if it does happen. We have Raston getting ready to hop into the bomb site of Tellers, but he's got to be careful. Like I said, a ton of C4s, a boatload, might I actually say, but he's going to get on that table position, so Shock might not be able to deny it. He has the sight line set up, but I believe he missed the C4. It deals a chunk of damage, but he can't really be denied, and everyone's just falling apart on the side of Bulldogs. It won't be 7-2, it'll be 7-1 victory favoring Footprint as they take the last round eventually.
Bam, bam, diddly damn. They tried to delay those players. They actually did a lot more damage to the table than the ace in the end. The plant was easy enough to be stuck. No time for it. The kills did the job. And you know what? It was so convincing the whole way through for Footprint. They looked winners from start to finish. From that very first entry, well, not actually from the very first entry, because they got the first kill. It was actually a mistake from Makers. But right from the first round, I will say, it's looked pretty convincing. Very little offered up by Bulldogs. You say they were hanging on midway through one of those later rounds, and that pretty much sums up their play, and they couldn't hang on in the end.
No, that was a beautifully done round at the very end as well, because you could see how it was stacked up in the 4 versus 4. You thought, hey, are they going to manage to get the plant now? They fooled me. They were just sending that player into plant as a diversion to the pulse to make sure that he had to commit to the C4, he had to read that push or that plant, and meanwhile, the rest of them flood down Visa stairs. There may have even been one coming down Spiral, didn't quite catch it, but going for the frags on the bottom floor while the defenders are looking the other way. That is how you do that if you want to secure it very, very quickly and avoid having to worry about a post plant. You just get those kills, and they did it wonderfully. Superb execution from top to bottom and from start to finish by Footprint, and they thoroughly deserve that. 7-1 says it all, really, doesn't it?
I don't want to just say that I was right all the way through, but at the beginning of the game, I said, this map, it's a very good one at testing who the better team is. And if you are a stronger team than your opposition here, it's so much easier just to trounce the opposition. And that's just what we saw there. Just having a much better day Footprint at the moment. We know Bulldog are capable of it, certainly, but really not a really not a good showing at all. Rather poor from them. But what a major division we have coming up. I mean, it's impossible to call. I'm gonna make everybody all the staff try and submit it. I'm gonna get everyone to say what they think, and then I'll reveal it at the end of the season what everyone guessed. I'm gonna try and figure out for myself what I'm gonna guess for, because it's virtually impossible.
That clash, that was the highlight for me.
That too, yeah. The other thing.
Agreed.
Amazing.
That was the most memeful round, other than the one followed up after it. But that was just a rush. I mean, it was nothing special. You see that all the time.
What
You
do you want?
don't.
Got it.
Yeah, you don't always see a Clash pick though, or a Boss G pick, which worked out pretty well for Cat Solo. He did find 2 and almost a third, 2.5. We'll call it 2.5.
The best part about it was that they synergized so well because of the damage that the Boss G landed on the ace from the first hit.
Yep. So still had a big impact.
Yeah. So it was an honorary 3K, which I know you guys love.
Oh yeah.
For the Boss G of all things. But yeah, that's just about going to wrap it up. I won't leave people at home staring at my face for much longer. Thank you for coming along and enduring this rather ad hoc stream, but I hope you'll agree it was worth it to see that match. So, Fellow, first of all, to you, any closing remarks?
No.
No? All right, E-back.
Bye, I'm Jerry.
And that is it. I have been not Jerry, and this has been ECS. Thank you for watch. Bye now.